helping you to weather good and bad economies without putting retirement on hold. This is the Tumolo Financial Podcast with Ken and Nick Tumolo. Ken and his son Nick know that creating a comprehensive financial plan can align your hard-earned life savings with your retirement goals. Consider them your retirement architects. Now, the Tumolo Financial Podcast with Ken and Nick Tumolo.
Here comes a varying bit of information based on our market investments and how we manage our risk, guys. We have even right here on this radio program talked about the time frame of when somebody should start scaling back their risk in the stock market. And the rule of thumb, so many of us have heard forever, think about 3 to 5 years from retirement is when you want to start thinking about your risk. Well, here comes Kiplinger.com. They have a new article suggesting that we should actually begin that process 10 to 15 years before retirement. So now for some people in the throes of their career, in their mid-40s, they should start scaling back their risk. Do you consider this to be a little bit too soon? What about a gradual approach? How do you help somebody figure out when to scale back?
I actually like gradual.
Yeah.
So no, Kiplinger's, it's about getting someone to prepare. And sometimes if you tell someone, oh, start doing it now doesn't happen. But a few years later, it might happen.
Okay.
So saying 15 years, you're kind of starting to like that.
It's a mind trick, this Kiplinger article. It's psychology.
Yeah, you're starting to light a little fire.
Okay.
But no, it's like, and Nick will agree with me too. A lot of times someone comes in if they're 57, 58, 59.
Yeah.
That's where you want to start to make those changes. Because a lot of things we can do at 59 and a half include rollovers, managing accounts, changing out the risk, building it into a retirement portfolio. I had a couple come in a few weeks ago into our East Berlin office, and their biggest concern was, hey, we remarried. Both of them went through a divorce.
Yeah.
We both got behind, meaning a little bit of debt. And then they had to each give up some of their savings for retirement, which is always hard in divorce. But the thing is 57, 58 years old, between the two of them, they were thinking, okay, well, if we want to retire at 65, what's it going to take?
Yeah.
And so they're really, we're going to count that as about 7 to 8 years from retirement. For that couple, it was perfect. They're, looking at their concern was really, hey, we know we're in trouble. We know we just bought a house. We know we had to borrow from our 401k, and we know we've run our credit card debt up a bit too. And so, what we did, we gathered information and built out the Tumolo Financial Retirement Checkup that we built out. And reason we have to start there is you have to start with the numbers. Because the thing is, us and the person we're meeting with, it's always about being comfortable, meaning, hey, the numbers make sense. We're comfortable to retire.
Yeah. And
then on our end, it's more about putting the numbers in front of someone and feeling comfortable about putting those numbers in front of them.
Okay.
We want to feel good about the numbers because we don't want to tell someone, hey, you can retire. And then we find out 10 years later, the numbers don't work. Right. That's not a good thing. So we baked some extra into it. So we gathered all that, built it out, had them come back. I met with them and had to talk to them and unfortunately tell them so sometimes they're great stories. This is actually pretty good still.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I had to tell them, hey, that 65 mathematically doesn't really work because it doesn't build enough safety into the plan. And what I mean by safety, building some extra money into it in case something comes up and you have to spend extra. And so I was like, if you go to 66, then project it, the numbers look great and conservatively the way that we run it. But we talked a while. They were pretty good with it. They kind of expected it.
Yeah.
And had that real conversation where we said, and the thing is, we do 6-month reviews anyway. And so as we're going through these reviews, Nick and I build a trend on you. And let's say the trend shows a few different things. Like maybe you might spend less than what we calculated or what we had from their numbers. Thing is, debt will disappear. So the plan is they're going to knock down certain pieces of debt. So their expenses will go down. So it's all about cash flow and retirement.
Yeah.
We talked about that. It actually was a great conversation. And I'm like, we'll build the trend. We'll track the expenses with you. And then what we'll do is as time goes, we might have to rerun these reports. We do it every 6 months anyways, but it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to give you homework to track your expenses.
Yeah.
But the whole idea there too is, and then they might end up with a better return during that time. And like the thing is, we're starting now at 57 and 58. Your goal is 65. Numbers show 66.
I was going to ask you to revisit. Did I hear you correctly? 66. I mean, that's just 1 year more of working. It's not like you said you're going to have to work to 73. It's like,
no.
12 more months. What's 12 more months if it means that much of a difference for your plan? But the important thing was they were disciplined enough to at least come to you, say, okay, where are we really? You showed them. And it's just like, no, we just need you to do 1 more year. And then we've got this plan. I think that's great.
Yes. Yeah. And over the reviews, it might show that they might be able to retire at 65 if all the numbers come together.
Okay.
So there's hope, there's a goal, incentive is what I want to say.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I tell people, accountability. So and what I mean by that is if you're coming to visit someone every 6 months, you try to do something to do better. At least that's how it works with me.
Same.
So by them coming to see us, they're going to feel like they have to do something with the debt. And so I'm hoping, and I say hope, but my goal is I want to get them to retire at 65.
Yeah.
But I want to do it where the numbers make sense, where they're not like going to the casino and taking chances.
Yeah.
So really that's where it starts. And that's why I say gradual sometimes is what you have to do for people. Kind of make the small changes. And I will tell you this, I ran a what if and I put it up on the screen for them to see. Because we have a TV screen in our conference room. And what I do is I tweaked it by raising the return by 1% and cutting their expenses back a little bit. And what it did was it showed they could retire at 65. So I showed them that too. So I showed them, look, little changes can make a huge difference in retirement.
Yep.
And I told them, look, and there might be tax strategies, but we're not talking about that now. We're really going to talk about getting your numbers where they have to be.
Yeah.
And then we work on that.
Okay.
So we always start that way. And the thing is, it always starts with that retirement checkup. We offer that complimentary out to listeners. Our number, 860-854-3434. Or visit us online, tfcheckup.com. It's one of the easier ways to schedule an appointment, especially if you're driving. Then you get home and you can actually just go to the website and book with us.
I definitely think 10 to 15 years feels like a little too soon. But I like the gradual approach that you just said, because I've always said, I said 7 to 10 years is my number, because we never know what's going to happen. And I know I bring up the stat all the time, but I'm going to say it again. 1999 to 2012. The S&P 500 for 13 and a half years, like 0% return. And then from 2012 to today, it's been 12.5% annually. We don't know what decade you're going to get or what time period you're going to get. You want to make sure that you'll be okay during those times. Because I unfortunately have a good amount of people that come in that are 1, 2, 3 years from retirement. And they're like, you know what? The market's been good all this time. And they just forget about 2008. They forget even about COVID. They forget about 2022. They forget about the tariffs that just happened even 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And they think it's just going to bounce back like magic. Every single time it's going to bounce back within a few months, a year, and I'll be okay. And I don't want you to say, okay, I have to work a couple extra years because I didn't adjust. And it's that. Everyone knows this saying, fear of missing out.
FOMO.
Yes.
Yep.
I see it all the time. And like I have some that I've been talking to, and they just bought, or they've been holding on it for 3 years now. He actually inherited it from his brother, NVIDIA stock.
Wow.
And
nice gift.
Awesome. I know, right?
Yeah. Okay.
But he held it 3 years ago, and I remember meeting him 3 years ago, and I was like, okay, this is 40-50% of your whole portfolio now, because his brother actually left a good chunk. I was like, okay, probably should piece it away to diversify. It still made sense because he wanted to retire at that time 2-3 years down the road.
Okay.
And you want to diversify to make sure that you're okay. Yeah, you can hold NVIDIA stock. I think it's one of the stronger companies in the country, of course, but you want to diversify so that the market's up, the market's down, you're still doing what you want, you're still retiring at X age, because you never know what's going to happen. Like, I had someone I talked to a few months ago, a client of mine, they came in for their 6-month review, and they were worried about the tariff thing. They came in about in April time, and she's like, are we going to be okay during this time? And they've been retired for a year and everything. And I said, yeah, because we have this safe piece set. If this does get worse, we'll go and shift and take the money from the safe piece for a few years.
Yeah.
And thankfully, things did bounce back pretty nicely on the tariffs, but it's just having that plan set in place, and that gave them that reassurance. Okay, Nick has a plan set in place for us. I understand the plan. Even me and my husband understand it. So if something happens, we still keep doing what they want. So that's where we build out that Tumolo Retirement Checkup. We do it complimentary. Our phone number is 860-854-3434, or you can go to our website at tfcheckup.com.
Investment advice offered through Tumolo Wealth Management, a Connecticut-registered investment advisor. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here.